Hi and welcome to Framed, a Let's Play with a focus on cinematography. My name's Aubrey and I'm going to be your host. Today we're playing Uncharted 4, Chapter 20, No Escape. As always, there could be spoilers, so please watch out for that. I would hate to ruin this game for you, so please play this game and then come back and watch my Let's Play. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Come on, get up!
I think it's really adorable how Nate instinctively goes to cover Elena.
Thanks, Captain Avery. It's just like old times, huh? Lena? Lena? Hey! Hey! Lena, come on! Lena!
My hero.
Oh, no, you didn't do that. No! That's not funny!
Oh, you have done much worse.
God, you gave me a goddamn heart attack.
Oh, let me listen. Sounds good to me.
You realize we're now even for everything I've ever pulled, right? Yeah, like ever.
No, not by a long shot. Gosh, you've got mud everywhere.
Anyone ever tell you you have a funny idea of romantic?
Yeah, I may have heard that somewhere before.
I like how we got to see the arc of Nate and Elena's fight. It's definitely not completely over or solved, but we can see how they have clearly at least come to a rapprochement. I've talked about this before, but I really do love how we see Nate and Elena react, and how Naughty Dog can just get the facial expressions and movements so well with their characters. So when Elena's lying on Nate's chest and he says, "Now we're even for like everything," you can just see Elena react and make a face, and it's so good. I love moments like that between them. It just like feels like a real relationship. I can't get over how this scene looks right here, just like so much like a painting. It's so beautifully crafted. And we have the birds flying off into the distance, and birds, I think, generally represent Sam in this game, and it's flying away from you. And you worry a little bit about Sam's safety, that he's getting away from you, or perhaps they're just leading you. But there's also to notice the red flags on the ship. As I described before, the Jolly Roger flags and pirate flags didn't just have to be black, they could also be green or red. And here we see these tattered, literal red flags that Nathan is dwarfed by, and that he is clearly entering more danger and going headfirst into it. But we also see this beautiful golden hour scene, and we can notice in the background on the cliff there that the flags are even shadowed, that there's a shadow of these danger. Even when you're looking away from it, you can't hide that it is. It is a dangerous place to be, and that he should not be there, perhaps. It's important to note that it is sunset at this point, and why this is important symbolically is generally sunset helps represent the passage of time. And while Nathan is here, he is getting older. This whole game is about duality, about life and death, about the passage of time and what that means necessarily. And so while Nate is confronting literally this graveyard of red flags, so they call it a ship graveyard, so the fact that he's chasing pirates in of itself leads to death. Sunsets can help remind people of the passage of time, just because in the fact that they only take a few minutes to see the sun change. While most of the day the sun's up high, like for hours in the day, you don't really notice that much. But during the sunset, there's only a few minutes we see. So I think that really helps note the passage of time. And here we see some of the red flags and what they mean, and that it's very dangerous for Nate and Elena and Sam right now, that their time is limited. If they continue down this path without changing or reflecting on their actions, that there is yet another red flag right there, and that they may not have a lot of time. We're thrust into the water, which has been a continual theme throughout this game. It's seawater in this point, which, as I mentioned before in earlier episodes, that seawater and oceans are representative of a journey and that they can either be good or bad, and now it's rapidly filling up. So I think that's a pretty obvious metaphor of that there is very limited time left, that Nathan and Elena and everyone is getting older and that they need to change or they will perish, or at least not thrive at the very least. It's also, of course, a plot point to make it dramatic that we see Nate just gasping for breath. It's not a cliche per se, but it is a plot point to make it more dramatic. But it is also representative of how the seawater is about to overcome and overtake Nathan and his crew. So he has to be aware of this.
God and liberty, asshole.
Of course, Sully came back to save Nate, and he is basically like a father figure
thanks for
to
the
him.
assist.
He's used to
Come on over.
dealing with
Get you
Nate's
out of there.
bullshit, basically, and getting himself
Please.
into these precarious situations and being there to really bail him out when he needs it. He literally pulls him up and helps support him, and we see it. A small note I also like is that Sully sweats, that all these characters sweat. We can see their stains on their shirts because they're in the middle of Madagascar. It's not humid and hot. So these are real people that sweat and don't look perfect all the time. And I love that little detail that Underdog puts in there.
You saved his ass again?
Naturally. How you doing?
Good. Good. There was some close calls, but he covered me.
Right when Sam's introduced, there's a dwindling fire behind him, and that could either mean a dying passion, so maybe his
How's that?
passion for Avery is subsiding, or perhaps it's just about to burn and grow
side?
bigger. At this
Where's
point,
my
it's a
face?
bit indecisive. We don't know.
So how'd you lose Rafe?
He led his crew right into one of Avery's traps.
Smart.
Hey, look. About the whole Alcazar thing.
Hey, we gotta save that for later, okay? Which way?
On the beach, other side of this town.
Okay.
Good. I hope all that ruckus didn't attract any attention.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry. What are we doing?
What do you think we're doing? We're getting the hell off of this rock.
Right, we could do that. Or we could head in that direction, which is a shortcut.
Shortcut to
I
what?
love how Sully knows how to ask a shortcut to
Raife's
what.
treasure.
He knows it's not that simple with Sam.
Rafe's
You
gotta
can see
go all
right
the
through
way
him.
around, but we can
Hey,
just...
screw Rafe.
Hey, Victor, with all due respect, maybe just
You
leave
just
this...
don't know when to quit.
Look, we're all here for the same reason, right?
We didn't come after the treasure. We came after you.
And I appreciate that. I do. But we're good. And we've got the lead for now. We can do this. Nathan, come on. Huh? Look around. Okay? Avery scuttled every last ship on this island. You know why?
Because he was hell-bent on keeping his treasure,
Exactly.
no matter the cost to the others around him.
Because he didn't want anyone to follow him.
Of course, we're talking about quote-unquote Avery at this point, but this is really how Sam feels, because he was hell-bent on keeping his treasure, and because he didn't want anyone to follow them, really, not just him.
his
He
ship
wants to discover
right
this with his brother
under that
alone,
mountain.
and he wants more
That's
than
where our
anything to
treasure is.
discover it with his brother,
And it is
and to
exactly
do this
where
treasure,
Rafe
and
is
to
headed right
achieve
now,
that
while we
greatness.
stand
He's been
around here and argue like idiots.
imprisoned, literally,
What if
for most of
he's
his
only
adult
left the
life.
island
So he
and his
wants some
ship sunk
purpose.
somewhere
He
out
wants
there
to
in the middle
be
of the
that
ocean?
person to bask in that greatness and have that thrill of adventure.
How long we been chasing this thing, huh? You and me. No offense to these guys. But they don't get it.
Actually, Sam, they do. They really do.
Okay.
Trust me, they've seen this kind of obsession before. Sam, we're not those kids anymore. We're not. And we got nothing to prove.
I think it's there that Sam realizes how different he and Nate are, not perhaps in personality, but stages in life. Nate can say all of this because he's gone through that obsession several times before. In the past 3 games, at least, we've seen it. And he already feels like he can move past it, that he has nothing to prove. But Sam doesn't feel that way necessarily. Elena uses the hand of her wedding band, Izan, to comfort Nate and show that he's doing the right thing, instead of the other hand. Naughty Dog could have easily put her on the other side, but it wanted to show their relationship and how their wedding's grown and how she's his real partner. I don't mean to imply that Nathan doesn't care about any of the other people in his life, just that Elena is his partner and that she's willing to help guide him selflessly onto his best self, while Sam's a bit more selfish. He has an ulterior motive because he wants to find this thing. Over here we see these 3 ship masts that are organized like the crucifixion of Jesus, of the 3 crosses. Jesus' crucifixion right in this gate. Right after we see that, it says, "Today you will join me in paradise," which is the famous quote that Jesus said to Saint Dismas right before he died. They both died and were crucified. That Jesus forgave that the thief's sins because he was repentant and that he was good. But they ultimately both did end up dying. Jesus, of course rose again. But it's a little bit nerve-wracking when we see this while the crew is entering, because we don't know if who's going to end up dying. It says, "You will join me in paradise." It could either mean they find the treasure or that they will end up dying and being enlightened, but perhaps it's too little too late. So again, we see these triad and the red flags, so it's a lot of danger that we feel. It's a lot of sense of foreboding, even though Nate and crew can literally see the end in sight in the plane that will take them above and rise above this place that has dragged them down. Once again, the environment reflects Nate and Sam's journey. So Nate and Sam obviously help each other, they're brothers. But here, they're about to be divided again. Nate goes on one side and Sam is directed to the other side. He is separated. There is a crater, a canyon between them, so to say. And Nate's beckoning him to come to him to be able to join their family, the family he's built. And Sam can't do it. He's called by that adventure still. The mountain where Avery's treasure is at was looming over Sam and about to overcome him. It's at that crest where it looks like it's a crashing wave, and it's about to overcome him and perhaps take him into its depths. So the mountain even looks like the ocean, which is in of itself as a journey, that metaphorical journey, and it looks like a cresting wave.
You called your bluff?
He's gonna get himself killed. Come on.
She's probably right.
Of course she is. Let's go.
I love how Sully and Elena react. They're not that fazed by the situation. They have dealt with Nathan for several years now. Sully longer than Elena, but both of them years. Nate is so clearly exasperated with Sam because it's the first time he's ever been on the end with Sully and Elena. They've always rescued him, and yet now the tables have turned and it's his turn to be on the rational side. We also see Henry Avery looming, and Nathan can't help but stare at this figure. And the red birds flew away, and they flew towards the mountain where Sam was. So again, I think those birds, those freedom, represent Sam, but instead this time, as Sam decided to diverge from the group, they were red birds. It was again another red flag, as it were, yet this time with birds. Of course, another reason to think that the birds are associated with Sam, because he literally has a flock of birds tattooed on his neck. So when we see birds flocking towards the Henry Avery statue and flying off into the distance away from Nathan, we can't help but see the parallels that what's happening. Sam went away. He had to go for that freedom, for that treasure. I love here this cart situation too. Nate started pushing it by himself. He was struggling. He didn't even think to ask anyone else. He's been raised to deal with a lot of stuff on his own, and yet Sully and Elena are right there. They're willing to help. They want to help Nathan and get him through this journey, and yet he doesn't even know or think to ask right away. They have to offer and come up to him. So I think that really goes into the psyche pretty well.
This isn't gonna hold.
Nate, go.
No, I got it.
Similarly to Sam, Nate has to make a split-second decision to go, and this card is sort of symbolic of him. Elena and Sully are trying to keep it going, keep it forward, to support it, and yet he can't. It's running away from them, and it's crashing back into Avery, into this sort of fatalism that he has to go down this path, whether he wants to or not, and that his brother is leading him down this way. And you
Come right
hear
back.
Sully talk to
He's not
Nate
gonna
almost
leave
as
without
if
a
he's a
fight.
child
Then
and
I'll
not
fight him if I have
perhaps
to, but either way, I'm
40-year-old
bringing him
man.
back. Just get
You
the
know,
plane
he's
as close to
saying that
Mom
he
as
can't
you
go
can.
by himself,
Be
but
ready for
Nate
a
knows
quick
he
getaway.
has to. He
Like
knows
there's
he has to
another
protect his
kind?
brother. And Elena recognizes that
not
too, but
fair.
she's upset.
Doing the dishes? We take turns. Don't even think about not coming back.
I love you.
Same to you, cowboy.
That's where we're going to end it this week. I hope to see you again, and thank you as always for watching.